When we recently went out to visit with owner-breeder Jim Vinnell, who also happens to be the president of the BC Standardbred Association, it was meant to be a piece about a very knowledgeable person. But as the cameras rolled and we did our interview, we learned a lot about harness racing that we did not know thanks to Jim.
I'm president of the BC Standardbred, have been for the last 4 years. Have been on both boards. I've been on the breeders board too as president of the breeders for 2 years. So I've been serving on the boards for around 10 years. The Standardbred board represents horsemen, and this is drivers, trainers, grooms, owners, and we are the business side, the work side of horse racing. We manage that. We manage the purse pool. We manage the stakes. And then the breeders, they're the breeding side. They manage all the breeding programs and the breeder stakes. Most people that own racehorses have turned into breeders, and they breed their own stock and race their own stock. So it's very intertwined. You can't separate yourself, because what the breeders do is important to the owners, and what the owners, or what we do with the purse is not as important to the breeders. So one body doing a decision would be better. It would be stronger, and I think it would serve the membership better. But we'd have to get away from self-interest for something like that to work. You have to think about the business, not what your little part of the business is, but what the overall business will do with what movement you make. BC horse racing industry is likely in better shape than, say, Alberta and some of Ontario. With the casinos attached to the racing, we have a bit of a guaranteed income for the next 10 or 20 years. We hope that during that time we'd get enough done from our side to promote the bet, to increase the bet, and maybe with teletheater, with a bit of change there, with possible offshore betting added to it, that may become the main driver of our industry. It may be that one day we don't need the casino, that we're self-supporting. That live bet is where most of our money comes from. We get the largest percentage return on our live bet, and our live bet at Fraser Downs is getting down around the 50 mark, 50,000. So that part of the income has really been cut drastically. When I see a reported bet at the track, I want people to realize if that's a good bet, or is it showing an increase in our business, or are we just lying flat, or what's going on? And you have to break down those percentages and show them.
How do the purses work?
Our revenue stream flowing in, and out of the revenue stream, money goes into the purse pool, and it goes into our stakes pool, which is SISAP, which that pays for the breeder stakes and some of our BC-owned stakes. Purse pool pays for the daily racing, it's called overnights, and it also pays for our open stakes, like the Clash and the Princess, the $100,000 stakes. That comes out of the purse pool. And the way that's done, it's a little bit different than thoroughbred. Standardbred, 50% of a listed purse, like if they're racing for $8,000, the winner gets 50%, and then it's 25, 12, 10, 8, 5, and down. So it's 50% of that goes to the winner. And I think in thoroughbreds it's 65.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure it is.
And
they pay down the fifth.
Yeah, and that's the same. We pay down the fifth. It's just a sliding rule, evenly down.
Just like a primer for hopefully our audience, but it is for me. The purses itself, how do you get the purses?
Part of it comes, we have casino money goes directly into the purse account.
Okay.
Our casino percentage. It's broken down into 90% purses, 10% SISAP. And then the bet money from all the betting goes to Great Canadian, who in turn put the purse share. We have a deal with, a split with Great Canadian. That's 54-46. And in our favor right now, and over our long-term contract, that's drawing to an even 50-50. So they put that money in the purse pool. And then we have a purse committee that tries to set up the conditions and the levels of the purses, and they meet with the racing secretary, who is the representative for the management side, and they come to agreement on these. And basically what you have an allotment of money that you calculate is going to come in over the year, and you have a number of race days, so you have a budget of, say, $79,000 a day for purses, and then you have your stakes separately, or you budget the overnight portion. Like in a stake, there's an overnight portion, which is 1/2 the invite. So if the invite's at $15,000, there's a $7,500 of overnight in each stake. And there's some 60 plus stakes ran in a year, stake races, like with eliminations and that. So that amounts to quite a bit of money, just the overnight portion of stakes.
You know, we always used to hear how you don't want to get in a horse race, can't make a dollar.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a phrase that comes the fact that you have to win the money before it's yours. And there are a lot of people in the industry that aren't winning. And that's the bad part that I see, is that there are people go to work every day, put in a hard day of work, and there's no return at the end of the day, because on the weekend, their horse doesn't win. Doesn't come fifth or better, doesn't get anything. And it's going to be difficult to change or make it so those people can make money. There's a lot to go into a horse race other than the goodness of the horse. You got to have the perfect match with a trainer. You got to get the position. The race has got to race the way it's good for your horse. So there's a multiple of things that are against you to keep you out of that top 5.
So you're in the breeding end of it.
I'm in the breeding. Have been in the breeding. I've had up to 7 brood mares. I've had as many as 25 horses here in this 5-acre parcel. Some I ship out to other places, to other farms. And I've cut back to, I've got 2 brood mares now, but racing has given me thrills of my life. I've raced in Meadowlands. I have 7 wins in the Meadowlands. I've raced in Woodbine. So I've had a great ride with these horses, and this explains why people, in my opinion, why people are prepared to invest so much in it, even though they may be losing. And that's where the term comes, don't expect to make money racing. And when I do my taxes at the end of the year, I'm usually, I've usually lost, but I've had a great time.